The Silent Saboteur. 5 Zen Practices to End Resentment and Master Conflict. Silence kills love faster than shouting. Resentment is the poison you drink. Learn the 5 Zen practices to end the silent saboteur. Watch now. Part 1. The Poison We Drink, the Hook and the Problem. Welcome to Echoes of Life. Let us speak about the silence that screams. We often believe that relationships end with an explosion, a shouting match, a betrayal, a dramatic slamming of a door. But more often than not, love does not end with a bang. It ends with a slow, cold suffocation. It ends because of a silent, invisible force that accumulates in the corners of our hearts like dust. This force is resentment. It is the silent saboteur. Resentment is different from anger. Anger is hot, it flares up, it burns, and often, it burns itself out. Anger is a storm that passes. Resentment, however, is cold. It is the anger that has been swallowed, compressed, and stored in the basement of the psyche. It is the unsaid word. It is the rolled eye. It is the cold shoulder. It is the passive-aggressive withdrawal of affection. It is the feeling that you have been wronged, that you are owed something, and that the other person is fundamentally failing you. We carry this resentment like a shield, believing it protects us. We use the silent treatment as a weapon to punish the other person, thinking that our withdrawal will force them to realize their error and come running back to us. But this is a profound delusion. In the wisdom traditions, there is a famous saying: holding onto resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When you harbor resentment, you are the vessel that holds the acid. You are the one whose sleep is disturbed. You are the one whose body is flooded with cortisol. You are the one whose joy is strangled. The other person might be completely unaware of the depth of your internal war, going about their day while you sit in a prison of your own making. This poison does not just hurt you, it creates a fog that makes true connection impossible. You cannot hold someone's hand while simultaneously keeping a list of their crimes in your other hand. You cannot look into their eyes with love while looking at them through the filter of bitterness. The silent saboteur turns partners into roommates, and roommates into strangers. It transforms the sanctuary of a relationship into a cold war zone where no shots are fired, but everyone is wounded. Today, we are going to pour out the poison. We are going to dismantle the mechanisms of the silent saboteur. We will walk through 5 Zen practices to detoxify your heart, end the cycle of blame, and master the art of conflict. We will move from the cold silence of resentment to the warm clarity of understanding. It is time to stop punishing yourself for the mistakes of others. It is time to clear the air. Part 2. The Ledger of Wrongs, the Accumulation. To heal resentment, we must first understand how it is built. It does not appear overnight. It is an accumulation. We build it through a psychological mechanism we can call the ledger of wrongs. The ego loves to keep score. In every relationship, the ego carries a secret, invisible notebook. Every time your partner, friend, or family member makes a mistake, the ego records it. They forgot to do the dishes? Mark it down. They arrived 10 minutes late? Mark it down. They used a tone of voice you didn't like? Mark it down. They didn't anticipate your needs? Mark it down in red ink. Over weeks, months, and years, this ledger grows heavy. It becomes a thick dossier of evidence proving that you are the victim and they are the villain. The tragedy of the ledger is that it creates a powerful cognitive distortion known as confirmation bias. Once you have decided that someone is inconsiderate, your mind will actively scan reality for evidence to support that conclusion, while simultaneously filtering out any evidence to the contrary. If they do 10 kind things and 1 selfish thing, the ego with the ledger will ignore the 10 kindnesses and pounce on the single error, saying, "See? I told you. This is who they are." You stop seeing the human being in front of you. You only see the caricature you have drawn in your book of debts. This ledger is heavy. It is a backpack of rocks you carry into every interaction. When you are carrying this weight, your patience is thin, your fuse is short. A small, innocent comment from them triggers a massive, disproportionate reaction from you, not because of what was said in the moment, but because of the mountain of past grievances you are standing on. You are not arguing about the dirty cup on the table. You are arguing about the last 5 years of feeling unheard. The Zen perspective challenges us to ask, do you want to be right? Or do you want to be free? Do you want to win the argument? Or do you want to win the relationship? You cannot have both. As long as you clutch the ledger to your chest, your arms are not free to embrace the present moment. The practice of letting go is not about condoning bad behavior. It is about burning the book. It is about realizing that keeping score is a game that everyone loses. To master conflict, we must first agree to stop being the accountant of the other person's flaws. We must agree to look at the person, not the record. We must be willing to put down the backpack and meet them in the fresh, unburdened space of now. Part 3. Practice 1. The Story Audit, separating fact from fiction. The first step in dissolving the poison is to interrupt the manufacturing process. Resentment is not caused by what happens to us. It is caused by the story we tell ourselves about what happens. The Stoics and Zen masters agree. We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. This leads us to Zen Practice 1, the Story Audit. When a conflict arises, there are always 2 elements present. First, there is the raw data, the objective reality. Second, there is the added narrative, the meaning your ego attaches to the data. Let's look at an example. The raw data is, your partner came home at 8 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. This is a neutral fact. A clock simply ticked. However, your ego immediately writes a story around this fact. The story might be, they don't respect my time. They care more about work than me. I am not a priority. They are selfish. The resentment you feel, the heat in your chest, the tightness in your throat, is not coming from the clock reading 8 p.m. It is coming from the story, I am not a priority. You are reacting to your own fiction. The story amplifies the pain, turning a minor inconvenience into a major character assassination. The story audit requires you to become a rigorous editor of your own mind. When you feel the surge of resentment, you must pause and ask, what is the fact? And what is the story? The fact, they didn't reply to my text. The story, they are ignoring me because they are angry. The audit, is it possible there is another story? Maybe they are busy. Maybe their phone died. Maybe they are overwhelmed. By questioning your own narrative, you introduce the element of doubt into your anger. Doubt is good here. It cools the fire. It opens the door to other possibilities. It moves you from a state of absolute judgment, they are wrong, to a state of curiosity, I wonder what happened. This practice does not mean you become a doormat or ignore bad behavior. It means you strip away the emotional exaggeration before you speak. You approach the conflict based on the raw data, which is solvable, rather than the ego narrative, which is usually unsolvable. You can fix a schedule issue. You cannot fix a "they don't love me" issue. The story audit keeps the conflict small, manageable, and grounded in reality, preventing it from metastasizing into the cancer of resentment. Part 4. Practice 2. Deep listening, emptying the cup. Once we have audited our own story, we must turn our attention to the other person. Most conversations during a conflict are not dialogues, they are two intersecting monologues. While the other person is speaking, we are not listening, we are reloading. We are scanning their words for weak points, formulating our rebuttal, and waiting for them to take a breath so we can fire our next shot. This is not communication, it is combat. Zen Practice 2 is deep listening, often called compassionate listening, in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh. It is the practice of listening with the sole intent to understand, not to reply, not to fix, and not to judge. To do this, you must practice the Zen art of emptying the cup. If your mind is full of your own opinions, your own hurt, and your own defense, there is no room for the other person's truth to enter. You must consciously empty your mind. You must drop your agenda. Deep listening requires you to listen below the words. Often, when someone is yelling, criticizing, or shutting down, they are communicating a tragic expression of an unmet need. If they say, "You never help me around the house," the surface message is an attack. But if you listen deeply, the message underneath is, "I am exhausted and I feel alone. I need support." If they say, "You are always working," the message underneath is, "I miss you. I feel disconnected." Resentment thrives when we react to the surface attack. Connection is restored when we respond to the underlying need. Deep listening allows you to hear the suffering behind the anger. It changes your internal state from defensive to compassionate. When you truly listen to someone, when you give them your full, silent, non-judgmental presence, a miracle happens. They begin to soften. The energy of the conflict diffuses. Everyone wants to be heard. It is a primal human need. When you offer this gift, you are not losing the argument, you are winning the peace. You act as a mirror, reflecting their feelings back to them to ensure you understood. "I hear that you are feeling overwhelmed and lonely. Is that right?" This validation is the water that puts out the fire of resentment. It bridges the gap. It turns me versus you back into us. By emptying your cup, you create the space for love to return. Here are the final 4 parts of the script for video number 11, The Silent Saboteur. Written in pure English, following your formatting requirements, no asterisks. Using single quotes for emphasis. Approximately 850 words per part. Part 5. Practice 3. The mirror, the projection. We have looked at the story we tell, and we have listened to the other person. Now, we must turn our gaze to the most difficult place of all, ourselves. This brings us to Zen Practice 3, the mirror. In psychology, this concept is known as projection. In the spiritual traditions, it is the understanding that the world is a mirror. The traits that trigger the most intense resentment in us are often the traits that we have disowned, suppressed, or denied in ourselves. We hate in others what we cannot accept in our own shadow. If you are deeply resentful of someone's selfishness, It is often because you have suppressed your own needs for so long that you secretly crave the permission to be selfish. Or perhaps you are judging the part of yourself that feels needy. If you are triggered by someone's laziness, it may be because you have built your entire identity around being a hard worker. And their ability to rest triggers your own exhaustion and envy. The silent saboteur thrives on the illusion that the problem is entirely out there. It convinces you that if only they would change, you would be at peace. But the mirror practice invites you to a radical form of accountability. It asks you to consider that the external conflict is often an internal conflict turned inside out. When you feel the sharp sting of judgment, instead of pointing the finger outward, turn the finger inward. Ask yourself the dangerous question: what does my reaction to this person say about me? If you are resentful that your partner is not affectionate, ask yourself, am I being affectionate toward myself? Or am I expecting them to fill a void that I am ignoring? If you are angry that a friend is unreliable, ask yourself, where in my life am I abandoning myself? Where am I not keeping my own promises? This is not about blaming yourself for their bad behavior. It is about reclaiming your power. As long as the cause of your suffering is out there, you are a victim. The moment you see the mirror, you become a student. You realize that this difficult person is actually a teacher. They are revealing the parts of your psyche that are unhealed. They are pressing on a bruise that was already there. By doing this work, by acknowledging your own shadow, you develop a profound sense of humility. It is hard to be self-righteous when you see your own reflection in the person you are judging. The sharp edge of your resentment softens into empathy. You realize that you are both flawed human beings, struggling with your own conditioning. You move from, I am right and you are wrong, to, we are both struggling to be better. This shift in perspective is the death of the silent saboteur. For resentment cannot survive in the light of self-awareness. Part 6. Practice 4. Compassionate speech, nonviolent communication. Once we have done the internal work of auditing the story, listening deeply, and looking in the mirror, we are finally ready to speak. But how we speak matters immensely. Most of us speak the language of the saboteur. We use words like weapons. We launch, use statements that act like grenades. You always ignore me. You never help. You are so insensitive. These statements guarantee defensiveness. When you attack someone's character, their brain perceives a threat to their survival. They stop listening and start fighting. The bridge is burned before you even finish the sentence. Zen Practice 4 is compassionate speech, or in modern terms, nonviolent communication. The goal of compassionate speech is not to win the argument, but to connect with the human being across from you. It shifts the focus from what you did wrong to how I feel and what I need. This practice follows a simple, powerful formula: observation, feeling, need, and request. First, state the observation without judgment, the raw data. Instead of, you are a slob, say, I see dirty dishes in the sink. Second, state the feeling. Use I statements. Instead of, you make me angry, say, I feel overwhelmed and anxious. This takes responsibility for your own emotions and prevents the other person from feeling blamed. Third, state the need. Resentment is almost always the result of an unmet need. Identify what you are truly craving. Is it support? Is it rest? Is it appreciation? Say, I have a need for order and support in maintaining our home. Fourth, make a clear request. Most complaints are vague. A request is specific and actionable. Instead of, be better, say, would you be willing to do the dishes after dinner tonight? When you speak this way, you are being vulnerable. You are showing your underbelly. You are saying, I am hurting, and I have a need, rather than, you are bad. It is very difficult to fight with someone who is simply stating their own feelings and needs without attacking you. Compassionate speech changes the energy of the room. It invites the other person to be a hero rather than a villain. It gives them a clear path to make things right. It transforms the conflict from a battle of wills into a collaborative problem-solving session. You are no longer enemies fighting over territory. You are partners trying to meet each other's needs. This is how you clear the air without creating a storm. Part 7. Practice 5. Releasing the debt, the art of forgiveness. We arrive now at the final and most challenging practice. You have spoken your truth. You have listened. You have understood the mirror. But sometimes, the pain remains. Sometimes, the other person cannot or will not change. Sometimes, the apology never comes. What then? Do you keep the resentment? Do you continue to drink the poison? Zen Practice 5 is releasing the debt. This is the practice of true forgiveness. We often misunderstand forgiveness. We think it means saying, what you did is okay. We think it means reconciliation. Or trusting the person again. It means none of those things. You can forgive someone and never speak to them again. You can forgive someone and still hold them accountable for their actions. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the other person. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is the decision to stop suffering for their mistakes. Resentment is an emotional debt. You feel that they owe you something, an apology. A childhood you never had. A love you deserved. You are standing at the counter of the cosmic bank, demanding payment, but the harsh truth is, they cannot pay you. They do not have the currency. They are bankrupt. Waiting for them to pay is a sentence to life in prison, where you are both the prisoner and the jailer. Releasing the debt is the conscious act of canceling the invoice. It is saying, you owe me, but I am no longer going to try to collect. It is accepting that the past cannot be changed. There is a beautiful definition of forgiveness. Forgiveness is giving up the hope of a better past. This requires a ritual of release. Visualize the cord that connects you to the resentment. It is a thick, heavy chain that runs from your solar plexus to theirs. As long as this chain exists, they have power over you. They are renting space in your head rent-free. Now, visualize taking a pair of golden shears and cutting that chain. Watch it fall away. Feel the sudden lightness in your body. You are declaring your independence. You are taking your energy back. You are deciding that your peace is more important than your justice. When you release the debt, you are not letting them off the hook. You are letting yourself off the hook. You are stepping out of the victim story and into the hero story. The hero does not carry a backpack of rocks. The hero travels light. By releasing the debt, you create space for new love, new joy, and new experiences to enter your life, unencumbered by the ghosts of yesterday. Part 8. Final Echoes. Clear the air. We have walked the path from the suffocating silence of resentment to the open air of freedom. You now understand that the silent saboteur is not a protector, but a prison guard. You have learned that conflict is inevitable, but resentment is optional. You now possess the 5 Zen practices to master the art of conflict. Practice 1. The Story Audit. Separating the neutral facts from the ego's fiction. Practice 2. Deep listening. Emptying your cup to hear the suffering behind the anger. Practice 3. The mirror. Looking inward to find the shadow you have projected outward. Practice 4. Compassionate speech. Stating needs instead of launching attacks. Practice 5. Releasing the debt. Canceling the invoice to set yourself free. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. And the quality of your relationships is determined by your ability to repair the rupture. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Do not let the silence harden into a wall. The air between you and the people you love is sacred space. Keep it clear. Keep it clean. Embrace this final challenge today. Identify one relationship where the silent saboteur is hiding. It might be a small annoyance or a deep, old wound. Choose one practice from this lesson. Perhaps you will audit your story. Perhaps you will listen without interrupting. Or perhaps you will finally cut the chain and forgive. Do not wait for them to change. You go first. Be the alchemist who turns the poison into medicine. Thank you for walking this path of healing with Echoes of Life. If the promise of ending resentment and mastering conflict resonated with your spirit, subscribe to our channel and join our community of conscious warriors who are brave enough to choose peace over being right. Like this video to help the algorithm share this antidote with others who are drinking the poison of silence. And finally, share this video with someone you want to clear the air with. Until our next lesson on the compassionate heart, may your mind be clear, may your speech be kind, and may your heart be free.